The Hauntings of SNICKLEWAY Inn, a true York tale of terror. In the historic city of York, known for its cobbled streets, medieval walls and ghostly legends, there is one place that seems to stand out among the many haunted spots: SNICKLEWAY Inn. Tucked away on one of York's narrow and winding alleyways, this inn is as old as the city itself, and like many of York's ancient buildings, it carries with it a dark and unsettling history. For centuries, SNICKLEWAY Inn has been a place of rest for weary travellers, a place where people would come to seek shelter from the harsh northern winds. But over time, it became known for something much more disturbing, a reputation for being haunted. Guests and staff alike have reported chilling encounters within its dark, dimly lit corridors, and the presence of restless spirits is said to linger in every room. The building that houses SNICKLEWAY Inn dates back to the 16th century, though some reports suggest it could be even older. Originally a coaching inn for travellers passing through York, the inn was once a bustling hub of activity, with merchants, travellers and soldiers passing through its doors. But as with many old buildings, there are dark secrets hidden beneath the walls of this seemingly quaint establishment. The inn was built on the site of an older structure that was once used for darker purposes. Some believe it was originally a tavern for York's more unsavoury characters, a place where criminals gathered and the atmosphere of violence and betrayal seeped into the very stones. It is these dark pasts that many believe have left behind their mark in the form of lingering spirits. Perhaps the most frequently encountered ghost at SNICKLEWAY Inn is that of the old innkeeper. Staff members and guests alike have reported seeing the figure of a man dressed in traditional 16th century clothing, pacing through the halls late at night. His face is often described as weathered, with deep lines that suggest a life spent in constant worry. Some have described his eyes as cold and haunting, as though they hold the weight of centuries of regret. Guests who have stayed at the inn during late hours have often been woken by the distinct sound of footsteps echoing down the wooden halls, but when they investigate, no one is there. A few brave souls who have ventured further have reported seeing the ghostly figure of the innkeeper standing at the foot of their beds, staring silently at them before vanishing into the shadows. His presence is cold and oppressive, and it is said that guests who are unlucky enough to encounter him feel an overwhelming sense of dread. One particularly unsettling encounter occurred when a couple staying in one of the upper rooms reported waking to find the innkeeper standing by the window, his back turned to them. When they called out to him, he slowly turned to face them. His expression was unreadable, and before they could react, he simply vanished into thin air. Another spirit said to haunt SNICKLEWAY Inn is the ghost of a woman who is believed to have died in the inn's cellar many years ago. Legend has it that she was a servant who worked at the inn during its early days, but she met a tragic end when she was accidentally trapped in the cellar, where she eventually perished from hunger and exhaustion. The cellar, now used for storage, is still a place that sends shivers down the spine of anyone who dares to venture down. Staff members have reported hearing the sound of faint sobbing coming from the cellar, as though the woman's spirit is still mourning her tragic fate. Others have claimed to see the shadowy figure of a woman moving between the barrels and crates, her presence cold and sorrowful. On occasion, guests who have spent time in the inn's lower levels have felt an overwhelming sense of sadness, and some have even reported being pushed from behind, though no one was near them at the time. One particularly chilling account comes from a visitor who stayed at the inn for a few days. The guest, curious about the stories surrounding the cellar, decided to investigate for themselves. As they descended into the dimly lit space, they began to feel an icy chill, and the sound of soft crying grew louder. At first, they believed it was the wind, but The sobbing continued, becoming more distinct and sorrowful. As they turned to leave, the sound of footsteps followed them, only to stop as they reached the stairs. Terrified, the guest fled to the cellar, and to this day they refuse to return to the inn. Another unsettling feature of SNICKLEWAY Inn is its reputation for poltergeist activity. Several guests and staff members have reported objects mysteriously moving on their own, as if pushed by unseen hands. Items like glasses, bottles, and even furniture have been known to shift positions without explanation. On one occasion, a member of staff was cleaning one of the rooms when they placed a glass of water on a table by the window. After stepping away, they heard the sound of the glass being knocked over. When they returned, they found the glass had moved several inches from its original position, as though something had physically pushed it. The staff member reported feeling an intense pressure on their chest, as if something invisible was bearing down on them. In another instance, a guest staying in a room by the stairwell woke to find the door to their room wide open. They had locked it before going to bed and no one else had been in the room. When they closed the door and lay back down, the door creaked open again, this time with a soft click, as though someone or something was attempting to enter. Despite its small size, one of the most chilling areas of SNICKLEWAY Inn is the narrow hallway that leads to the rooms. Guests who have stayed in rooms adjacent to the hallway often report an overwhelming sense of being watched. Some claim that they have heard footsteps following them even though no one is near. The sensation is so intense that several visitors have reported feeling an unseen presence tugging at their clothes, as though someone or something was trying to grab them. Staff members have also reported strange occurrences in the hallway. One particularly unnerving incident occurred when a staff member was walking down the corridor at night, only to hear the sound of whispers from the rooms around them. When they turned the corner, no one was there, and the whispering stopped as suddenly as it had started. The sensation of being followed remains a common report from anyone who works and stays at the inn. York, with its rich and often macabre history, is a city full of stories. Stories of tragedy, betrayal, and ghosts that refuse to rest. SNICKLEWAY Inn, with its centuries-old walls and centuries-old secrets, is no exception. Whether it's the ghost of the old innkeeper watching over the guests, the tragic spirit of the servant in the cellar, or the unseen forces that seem to move objects and follow the living, this seemingly quaint inn holds a darkness that many are too afraid to confront. For those who dare to stay, SNICKLEWAY Inn offers a glimpse into the ghostly underbelly of York, a place where the past never truly fades away and the spirits of those who have suffered continue to linger. If you love tales of true hauntings and the supernatural, make sure to subscribe to our daily updates. Every day we share chilling and spine-tingling stories from across the UK and beyond, stories you won't want to miss. Thank you.